Hey everybody, this is Joe Gilder from HomeStudioCorner.com. We're talking about getting it right at the source, and today I want to talk to you about something that I'm probably going to rant about, I'll be honest. This is one thing you should never say, ever say, on a recording session, okay? Now, you're probably guilty of saying this. I know I'm guilty of saying this, especially when I was just learning. I was going to school, we're learning recording, we have lots of sessions that we're working on. And we're recording stuff, and we're learning everything at this breakneck speed, right? There's just all this stuff to learn and not a lot of time to learn it. And one thing we would say over and over, and this is what I'm saying that we should never, ever say in the studio is this: let's just fix it in the mix. Okay? Let that be the last time I ever say that ever. And you do the same, okay? Let me explain why that's so bad. It should be obvious, but I think it's worth us talking about. It's one of those things you need to just keep reminding yourself. You know, a lot of times we forget the truth, and it's good to be reminded. So, why is it bad to say, let's just fix it in the mix? Well, the main reason is it doesn't help you get it right at the source, okay? And the reason that's bad is sometimes you just can't fix it in the mix, okay? If the bass tone is just wonky and weird, you can't fix it in the mix. You might be able to repair it. You might be able to help it. You might be able to improve it in the mix, but you can't fix it, okay? You're much better off spending time figuring out why that bass tone isn't working. Maybe you need a different bass, a different amp, maybe you need to go direct, maybe a new cable, I don't know. But figure that part of it out and get that recording to sound great. Because later on, when you go to mix that song, you're gonna realize, this bass sounds awful, I can't fix it. I can improve it, I can make it sort of work, but we're not doing this to just have stuff work. We're not going for just mediocre, we're going for great. So don't just fix it in the mix. Another big reason that you don't want to try to fix it in the mix is because it takes forever to fix it in the mix. Let's say you can improve it to the point that it works and it's not ruined, okay? I understand that. Sometimes you're just having an off day when you record, or you're rushed for time and the recording doesn't sound that great. So your only option is to fix it in the mix, okay? I understand. I'm a realist. I understand that's gonna happen, and you do have to figure out ways to fix it and use all the tools available to make it passable, okay? But you know from experience, if you've done this before, I can certainly tell you from experience that it takes a much longer time to mix that song than it takes to mix the song that I spent more time on the front end getting it right at the source and not trying to leave all the work for the back end to fix it during the mix. For every hour that you spend on the front end making a great sounding recording, that probably can save you upwards of 2 to 3 to 4 hours on the back end during mixing. Some of my best mixes, I promise you, some of my best mixes that I've ever done have been with tracks that just sounded great from the get-go. Now, I know that sounds like almost an obvious statement, and back when I was first starting out mixing, I would watch these mixing tutorials of these big mix engineers, and their tracks would sound amazing before they started adding EQs and compressors and reverbs and all that stuff. And I would say to myself, well, of course their mixes sound good, you know? They've got great sounding tracks. My tracks don't sound that good, therefore I've got to work so much harder during the mix. And I completely missed the point. The tracks sound good, right? You can make tracks sound good, you just got to work at it. If it doesn't sound right, you've got to sit back, hunker down, and work on it until the recording itself sounds great. If you can do that, then mixing is going to be such a breeze, and it's going to be so much more fun and enjoyable because the tracks, you pull them up and you just turn up the faders and everything already sounds awesome. Then you just go in and do your thing to enhance it and make it great. Okay? So let's say it together. Say it at your computer with me. One phrase we're never going to say again in the studio. Let's just fix it in the mix. Okay? Okay.